Hey everybody, it's Cygnus. Today we're doing a personality test. That's it. That's the intro. Bye. Alright, we are taking the Myers-Briggs 16 personality test. I'm just using the regular 16personalities.com test. I've taken this before, like, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, back when I was still in high school, put it that way. So it's been a while since I took it. I think when I did it, I was INTP? I know for the most part, your personality doesn't really like change, but I think like given enough time, you can definitely shift. So I'm curious to see what it is now. I regularly make new friends. Overall, no. I do not meet a lot of people. I'm just gonna be honest. Complex and novel ideas excite you more than simple and straightforward ones. I would say in general they do, but I do appreciate when something can just be nice and straightforward. I do really appreciate that, so I think I'll put it as like ever so slightly agree. You usually feel more persuaded by what resonates emotionally than by factual arguments. Definitely yes. Like factual arguments and like facts and logic, were like they do like come into play, but I think overall it's usually like I just kind of go with how I'm feeling. Your living and working spaces are clean and organized. Absolutely the fuck not. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. I would say generally, yeah, I'm pretty good at staying calm. Like at work, when things get like incredibly busy, usually I'm pretty good at just staying on top of it. That doesn't mean I don't get like overwhelmed, right? Or like it doesn't mean that like that pressure just doesn't affect me. But I'm usually able to kind of like put it aside because I think my general mindset is like, okay, like cracking under this pressure is not going to solve it, right? Like if I'm at work during like when I used to work at like Jimmy John's, and if there'd be like a lunch rush, right? Like there's a lot of fucking people coming in, and like, you know, again, getting overwhelmed by that is not going to get all those orders out and like end it. It's going to make it worse. So usually I just like it's in my best interest to stay calm. You find the idea of networking or promoting yourself to strangers very daunting. I wouldn't say necessarily daunting, but I would say like very tiring. Like I don't like to introduce myself a lot. Like I can do it, right? Like if I'm at a party with people I don't know and somebody tries to talk to me, then yeah, I'll introduce myself, but it's very tiring if you have to do that over and over again. So when it comes to like networking or promoting myself, I would say I generally don't like to do it. So I'd put it right here. You prioritize and plan tasks effectively, often completing them well before the deadline. Fuck no. I'm not well before. In school, I was always like get it done right before the due date. So I'd be like going for like 6 hours straight trying to write a full fucking essay in one sitting because it's just like I just didn't do any of my stuff beforehand. People's stories and emotions speak louder to you than numbers or data. I guess if I'm talking to people, then yeah, what matters more is how they feel and what they're feeling and how that affects them more so than what it actually like is, right? It's a little this question lacks a little bit of context. I think that would help me make a clearer answer, but in general I would say yeah, people's emotions definitely speak a little bit more to me, or like not necessarily speak more to me, but I hold them at a higher importance. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. Fuck no. My mom would always get me a planner in school. She'd be like, maybe this year you'll be able to, you know, actually get stuff done in a timely manner. I'm like, Mom, no the fuck I won't. I think the closest that I have to this is I have a big 4-sided whiteboard, and I use that thing. I'll just post, like, let's say I have like a doctor's appointment. I'll be like, okay, I'll just write in big letters, like, doctor's appointment this day at this time, fucking be there, dumbass. And just the idea of it always being within my field of vision during the day, like I'll just walk past it and I'll look at it. That constant reminder is what sets it in my mind. Whereas like having a schedule to always pull out of my, like, you know, at my desk or whatever, that's just not gonna get it done because I'm just not gonna pull it out. And that's why like I wish with the reminders app on like my phone, they always send the reminder 2 days days before. And I wish instead of 2 days before, it happened like 2, maybe 6 hours before. Because, dude, it's like, it's Monday, and it's like, if I have to go to something on Wednesday and I hear about it because of a reminder on my phone on Monday, what's gonna happen, right, is I'm gonna get the notification and I'm gonna immediately just go, oh, okay, cool, just remember that, and then swipe it away and forget about it immediately. Like, that's the end of it. Like, it's gonna be out of sight, out of mind. And so reminder apps never actually work with me. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. I would say no, or maybe a little bit. I'm trying to think of a time when I had a situation like this where I like made a big mistake and it caused me to like rethink everything. I guess if I'm not having that thought a lot, then that means no, right? I think in general, no. I'm pretty confident in my ability to get stuff done, but if I know I can get it done. I'm very realistic about what I can and can't do. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation? Yeah, I think the problem here is that whether or not I walk up to them to try and start a conversation comes from some sort of, like, I have to have a question, right? I have to like have something to come up to them with for me to feel like it's okay to do that. And if I don't have that, then I'm not going to like just walk up to them and strike up a conversation. But if I do have that, then I have no qualms saying something. I'm very good at just making very small comments. I think it also comes a lot with expectations. Like, I think people who are too scared to like make comments around some stranger, you know, just to have like one of those small little moments. I think people who are really afraid of doing that have high expectations for what that interaction needs to be. Like, let's say if I'm in an aisle at the grocery store and I can't find what I'm looking for, and there's some dude who's also in the same predicament, then, you know, and I make a comment on it, that doesn't need to go any further than just us laughing at that comment, right? That can be it. It doesn't need to become like a big friendship. It doesn't need to become a conversation. A comment can just be a comment, or a conversation can just be a conversation. You're not too interested in discussions about various interpretations of creative works. No, I am very interested in that shit. I just finished Expedition 33, and all I've been doing is just consuming analysis stuff and trying to make my own analysis. It's crazy. You prioritize facts over people's feelings when determining a course of action. This is another one that lacks a lot of context for like the situation, right? Because this is very dependent on the situation. Like, if I'm at work, then fuck people's feelings, right? If we need to get something done and you feel bent out of shape about it, but it needs to be done that way, then it's like tough shit, dude. Like, I'm not gonna be able to do much for you. But like, if it's like interpersonal, and it's like, you know, if it's like me and a friend, their feelings are going to be the first thing that I respond to before I implement any course of action on my part. You often allow the day to unfold without any schedule at all. Yeah, unless it's like something like work, then the day will be whatever it be. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. Yeah, I don't really care. I know what I'm working with, and if you don't fuck with it, then that's not my issue. You enjoy participating in team-based activities. Define activities. Because if it's like sports, then yeah, I enjoy that. But if it's like a group project at school or work, then fuck that. Get me on my own. I'm gonna say no in that sense. Like, I like playing games. Like, I'll play games with people. Just like no problem. I love that shit. But like, you ask me to like make it productive and like be related to like something important, then no. Let me just tinker. Let me tinker in my little hole.
Oh hell no, man! What the fuck?
Don't tinker with my hole. Please don't tinker my hole. I worded that very, very poorly. You enjoy experimenting with new and untested approaches. Yeah, I think in general, I always look for a way to do something in a way that nobody's ever done before, or at least add my own little personal twist to it. I also just like the idea of doing something fresh and new. I prioritize being sensitive over being completely honest. Sensitivity definitely matters, but I would rather be upfront with you than to like coddle you or sugarcoat it, but it does matter. You can tactfully be honest, right? You can come clean fully and still like have that done in like a good way. So I'm gonna say there. You actively seek out new experiences and knowledge areas to explore. Yeah, one of my big ones right now is I'm reading The Cygnus Unto Death by Soren Kierkegaard right now, and I am loving it. I love deep diving on shit that I don't really know about. I think I have a lot of hobbies too. Like I have making content, I have music, I play 3 instruments, I play guitar, piano, and I haven't played it in a while, but I still can play trombone. I do astrophotography, I read, right? I read both regular books as well as like manga. So it's like I definitely enjoy that. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. No, not really. If things go bad, I'll work it out. Things are gonna work out the way that they work out, right? Sitting there and stringing up all these dominoes in your mind, it's only gonna eventually make them topple. And I've come to learn that that's very unhealthy for myself. Like, just doing that makes me spiral and ultimately sit there in inactivity and stagnation, and so I don't do it. You enjoy solitary hobbies or activities more than group ones? Yeah, pretty much all my hobbies are on my own. You cannot imagine yourself writing fictional stories for a living? Yeah, no, I could not be an author of like a fantasy novel. It's just I do not understand that. I'm not like I feel like I'm creative in the sense that I can innovate pretty well, but I don't think I can invent. Like, that's a very different field of, like, expertise. You favor efficiency in decisions, even if it means disregarding some emotional aspects. I'm all for making things efficient, but in general, again, it kind of goes with how I'm feeling. Like, stuff like that does matter. You prefer to do chores before allowing yourself to relax. I think I'm very neutral in this one, actually, because I think for me, doing chores is pretty much just like I do them whenever I need to do them, like at that moment, like dishes. Like I have no problem doing like leaving my dishes in there for like a fucking week, but it's like there will eventually come a point where I get sick of looking at it and I'll be like, okay, let's just do it. I also have no issue doing it because I think there is something very therapeutic about just doing mindless tasks like chores. Like doing laundry is very mind-numbing when you're just sitting there folding socks over and over again, and there's something very mindless about like doing the dishes or like sweeping and all that shit. Like it's very mundane, but it also gives you a little bit of downtime to like recharge, not really have to think about a whole lot. You know, you can just put your music on, put your podcasts on, put your videos on, and just get it done. That, and you'll feel better having done it. So it's like, for me, that doesn't need to come at a specific time. Like it can be whenever it needs to be, because at the end of the day, I'll feel good about doing it. In disagreements, you prioritize proving your point over preserving the feelings of others. My problem with this is that if you, this is completely dependent on the other person. Like if it's a disagreement and we're like being pretty cordial about it, then I have no problem accommodating that, right? We can sit there and have a nice civil discussion about it. We can talk it over. We can come and find common ground, and eventually, like, even if we agree to disagree at the end, you know, that's fine. But like I'm very much someone who will like match your energy. And it's like if you're acting all pissed off, I care less because you care less, right? It's like if you're not gonna give me the time of day to be respectful about stuff, then I could give a fuck less how you feel about it. I would say in general, I really try to. You usually wait for others to introduce themselves first at social gatherings. Yeah. Or actually, no. Yeah, no. I think in general, if I'm having a conversation with you and I don't know your name, I'll try and break that ice just so like it's a little less awkward, right? So it's like just get it over with. Your mood can change very quickly. Yeah. Something as simple as losing my wallet or my keys actually ruins my day because I get so furious. You're not easily swayed by emotional arguments. yeah, like I can facilitate people's emotions, right? But at the end of the day, your emotions, like, a lot of the time don't matter in the sense of like relative to like whatever it is we're doing, right? I think in like maybe like a fight over like behavior, right? Then yeah, sure. How like my actions are making you feel are important. What's going to sway me at the end of the day is not going to be you like being emotional about it. I can stonewall you pretty good in that sense. Like if you're crying, like I'm not somebody who can cry if the other person is crying. I'll sit there dead faced because I don't really know what to do, right? If you start crying, like I'll try to comfort you, you know, and I'll try to like facilitate your like sadness, but I'm not going to be able to cry with you. I can be sad with you, but I can't cry with you. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. Fuck yes. That's my toxic trait. But for some reason it works. In school, that was the whole reason why I would do things last minute. Is because I would be able to do it and I would get good grades. I still remember I had to do a report on The Great Gatsby in junior year, and I did the entire assignment within 4 hours before school. I wrote an entire paper and I got regular good, like I got like an 80 on it, which was actually good for me because half the time I wouldn't turn shit in. You enjoy debating ethical dilemmas. Yeah, I would say so. Mainly because I enjoy hearing about how other people process and make decisions regarding like information, like let's use the trolley problem for example. Like let's say we're talking with friends about like how they would handle the trolley problem. To me, what's interesting about it is not like the outcome of whatever the decision they make. I think the thing with ethical dilemmas is just the fact that like there's something about each and every person that leads them to make the choices that they make in ethical dilemmas. And I'm very much interested more in what leads somebody to think and act the way that they do, more so than what it is that they're thinking or acting out. The process is what's important to me in an ethical dilemma, not the outcome. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. Yeah, you become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. I think this just depends if I can keep up, because I mean, like, if I'm talking to somebody about like a field that I have absolutely zero knowledge on, then you might lose me a little bit because I'm not like my dad, he works in the semiconductor industry, and like he'll talk about work sometimes and I'm like, you've lost me, man. I have no fucking clue what it is you're talking about. Like when it comes to like, you know, theoretical stuff, I definitely enjoy it. But it usually depends on whether me and the other person are on the same brainwave. When facts and feelings conflict, you usually find yourself following your heart. Yeah, again, at the end of the day, it's what I feel about it, not how, like, is this objectively the right choice? Sure. But if I choose the objectively right choice, am I gonna be thinking about the decision for the rest of my life, you know? Like, is it gonna keep me up at night? Like, that's what's more important. I would rather make I'd rather make a decision that's more, that makes me feel better about what it is that I'm doing than whether or not it's right to be doing something, right? You find it challenging to maintain a consistent work or study schedule. Yep, my study schedule was I didn't. You rarely second guess the choices that you've made. Yeah, no, usually if I make a decision, I've weighed the pros and cons and thought about all the consequences before. Like, I hardly ever make a decision that I'm unhappy with. Your friends would describe you as lively and outgoing. How close am I with the friends? Because if it's like someone I just met, then no, I put up a lot of walls, I think. But like, if I'm comfortable around you and we've been friends for a while, then yeah, I'll be the loudest one. Like, you'll want me to shut the fuck up. It's crazy. You're drawn to various forms of creative expression, such as writing. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to break the ice into video essay content. You know, in general, I'm attempting to make content. I stream. I play 3 musical instruments. I enjoy books and manga. You usually base your choices on objective facts rather than emotional impressions. Nope, like I said, it's what I'm feeling. You like to have a to-do list for each day. Fuck no, the day is gonna go however it goes. You know, I don't care. You rarely feel insecure. Yeah. I'd say I feel pretty secure. I think the reason I say this is because it's not that I don't have insecurities. I think everybody does. But I think I'm pretty good at managing those insecurities and like just being able to put them aside, right? And just realize them for what they are instead of giving them power and weight over me. Like I had a collab with somebody a few months ago. Like I want to say it was like 6 months ago at this point. This person, they grew a lot faster than I did, right? And you know, a part of me was like a little bit jealous over that, but at the end of the day, it's like, why would I hold that against them instead of just attending to the fact that I feel jealous? Like, okay, I'm recognizing that I wish I would have grown a little bit faster, and that's okay to feel that way, but let's unpack why it is that I feel so strongly about that. That's affecting my view of another person. So I would say, yeah, I really feel insecure. Because I think getting over that insecurity, like, diminishes it, right? Because it's like, if I attend to it, then I no longer feel insecure. And I'm pretty good at snuffing that out. I avoid making phone calls, yeah, mainly because, I don't know why, but the build up to making the phone call is much worse than the actual phone call. Like, I dread having to make the call, but once the call is, like, going, like, I'm fine with it. You enjoy it? Exploring unfamiliar ideas and viewpoints. Yeah, I love finding new ways to look at things and exploring ideas that maybe I didn't think of. You can easily connect with people that you have just met. I think the load-bearing word here is easily, right? I think I can connect with people that I've just met, but I think it takes me a little while to find that common ground. So I'm gonna say I definitely try to. Like that's my first goal when interacting with people is like, okay, let's find a way to actually connect with this person. Let's find like, you know, something that we do have in common and work off of that. If my plans are interrupted, my top priority is to get them back on track as soon as possible. No, it's gonna be whatever it is. I mean, like, okay, if my plans, like, I'm gonna assume this is meaning, like, something that's, like, not that big, right? Like, let's say, like, me and my friends wanted to go get food, but now we're doing something else. And my top priority is not to go get food still. It's just, okay, let's just fucking hang out. I guess we're not getting food, that's fine, you know? Like, so I'm gonna go off that assumption. You're still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. Dude, all the fucking time. I literally would stay up at night in a cold sweat, wishing that I could have a Glock 19 and a time machine so I could go back to certain times in like school and just fucking blow my younger head's brains out. It's oh my god. I'm haunted by them. I'm haunted by it. You're not too interested in discussing theories on what the world could look like in the future. No, mainly because a lot of the theories kind of look like shit, so your emotions control you more than you control them. No. I think I'm pretty in good control of my emotions. Actually, you know what? I think I'm very good at it to a fault. A good example of this is I can't cry. I haven't cried in 3 years, dude. It's been forever since I cried. But like I can tell, like in the past year especially, I think one of the biggest things that does make me emotional is like some like certain music tracks from like soundtracks and stuff. Actually, funny I say that. The last time I cried, I was sitting at my desk after a stream, and I was just like browsing Twitter and like Instagram and all that stuff at my desk, and I was listening to my soundtrack playlist, and Sticker Brush Symphony from Donkey Kong Country came on, and I started listening to it a little more attentively, and for whatever reason, man, I started fucking bawling. I have no clue what it is about. I never even played Donkey Kong Country in my life, but for some reason that song fucking actually like made me weep. Nowadays, I can definitely feel that like emotion coming up sometimes. Like I think I was playing Disco Elysium in my free time like a month ago, and there was a few scenes in that game where I could tell that something was welling up within me. And then afterwards, I was listening to the Disco Elysium soundtrack again, and there was this one track in the game that, like, just kind of like, I don't know, my brain really likes it, put it that way, and I could feel like I was about to cry, right? And I'm like, I think crying is very cathartic in that we need to cry. Crying is very, like, crying is a very good thing, right? Because it means that you feel so very deeply about something. And I could feel this, like, you know, that sensation, like, coming up for the first time in, like, 3 years. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna happen. Thank God, I can finally have this release of emotion and it's gonna be great. But for some reason, man, my body just does not let it come out. And that still, it kind of bothers me a little bit, because I'm like, I should be able to cry when I feel like the need to cry. Like, there's something going on where I just reflexively, like, keep myself from being able to cry, and that's problematic because I'm inherently cutting myself off from other emotions. And I think that I'm good at controlling my other emotions as well. Like, when I'm mad, I'm pretty good at, like, attending to that and being like, okay, I'm mad, let's cool it down, do what I need to do to become less mad and cool off. I think when I'm sad, I'm very good at attending to that too. Like, okay, let's deep dive into what it is I'm feeling right now. Like, let's, you know, be compassionate towards myself and figure that out. But I think that this idea of filtering my emotions and not letting myself feel as deeply as I probably could is a little problematic. And so I'd say in that way, they control me a little bit more. But I do think in general that I am very good at attending to my emotions and not letting them be something that, like, you know, I act upon, right? Like, I'll never act out of anger, or I'll never act out of, like, sadness or jealousy, because I attend to it at that moment. But they do filter me a little bit negatively, and I do not feel as wide of a range of my emotions as I probably could. When making decisions, you focus more on how the affected people might feel than what is the most logical or efficient. Another question that is once again devoid of situational context. If I'm doing something that's going to affect other people, then how they feel about that matters. But needing things to happen in a certain way is also valid, and it's hard for me to deny that. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna do what I can to make the people affected, like, feel better about it. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. Yep. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. I have a job that requires me to work alone. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. No, actually, a lot of my beliefs are rooted more in philosophy than anything, like, religious, spiritual. I love philosophy. Philosophy is one of my favorite just topics in school. I remember it kind of started in middle school. I had a history teacher that wanted to talk a lot about philosophy, and so we had a whole unit on, like, Plato and Socrates and all that. Archimedes. Wait, no, Archimedes he was a mathematician, wasn't he? I do think that philosophical questions are not a waste of time, no. I think philosophy is a very good way for you to get in touch with how you feel about certain concepts. You feel more drawn to busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. I'm pretty neutral on this. They both have their appeal. I'd love to have my little anime moment of me standing in the middle of Shibuya Crossing where I absolutely lose my fucking mind like Ken Kaneki in Tokyo Ghoul. But I also want to have my little moment where I'm, like, on a bridge, smoking a fucking cigarette, figuring things out, right? There's merit to both. If a decision feels right to you, you often act on it without needing further proof. Yeah, if it feels right to me, I don't fucking care. I'll deal with the consequences later. I often feel overwhelmed. I think the load-bearing word here is often. I do not often feel overwhelmed. I do feel overwhelmed every now and then, but not often. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. I think a good analogy for this would be like writing an essay, because you have your outline and you have the basic structure of an essay, and that's technically like a methodology, but I'm very much someone who will not, like, adhere to following that to the T. Like a good example is, like, instead of maybe starting with my intro, doing all my evidence paragraphs, and doing my conclusion, I'll start with my conclusion, and then I'll write my intro, and then I'll fill in all the gaps. Or maybe the next time after that, I'm on a topic that I feel a lot more strongly about, so I'll start with, like, my evidence paragraphs, and then I'll write my conclusion and introduction. But, like, overall, I have a methodology behind it, but I'm able to interchange that methodology to fit however I'm feeling and what best allows me to act. So I would say in general, no. You prefer tasks that require you to come up with creative solutions rather than follow concrete steps. Like I just said, you know, having concrete steps is important, but at the end of the day, I would rather have something that lets me be flexible with the way that I'm doing it and going about actually acting upon it. rather than just have to sit there and feel like, I think if I have too many concrete steps, then I feel a little robotic. Like if you just came up to me and said, hey Cygnus, go build a boat, and you didn't care about what the boat looked like, then yeah, I'll have fun building you a boat and I'll enjoy that. But if you sit here and say, here's a blueprint for a boat, I want you to go make this boat following the blueprint to a T, I'm gonna tell you to blow shit out your dick hole, right? It's like, I don't fucking care. Like, so I definitely prefer just having that flexibility. You are more likely to rely on emotional intuition than logical reasoning when you make a choice. Yeah, again, at the end of the day, how I feel about it is what matters. Struggle with deadlines? I think if you give me a deadline, I'll get it done, but what matters is how much I care about what it is that has the deadline. Like, that was my big thing with school. You could not convince me to take home, like, schoolwork home and get it done overnight. So if I couldn't get it done at school, I wouldn't do it. And because of that, a lot of my stuff ended up late because I just didn't turn anything in. Like, if it was like a paper that I cared about doing and I had a deadline for it, then yeah, I was able to meet that. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Yeah, I mean, I'm not special enough for things to go horribly wrong in my life, right? I think everybody will have ups and downs, but at the end of the day, it works out, you know? I'm a very average person, and for the average person, things work out fine. All right. Well, let's see the results, huh? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's incredibly close to what I used to be 4 years ago. When I took this last, I was an INTP. And I used to be pretty like, I used to really like doing these tests. Like the Myers-Briggs stuff, I would use like a bunch of different sites to try and figure it out, just because I think in a general sense that, like, obviously, like, the Myers-Briggs stuff is like no more, it's no more true or like concrete than a horoscope, right? These are horoscopes for self-proclaimed intellectuals, and let's just be real here. But I do think that they provide at least a framework that people can use to get a good read on how they operate as a person, and build upon that to find out what their strengths and weaknesses are, then as something that, like, you hold, like, as tried and true. I used to be an INTP, but I think that the big difference is that I'm a lot more real with myself nowadays than I used to be when I was taking this test. Okay, yeah, so the big difference between what I used to be and what I am is that instead of thinking, I'm more real with, like, I'm more guided by how I'm feeling instead of how I'm thinking. That's the big difference. But yeah, I mean, let's deep dive a little bit, shall we? As an INFP, a mediator, you possess a rich inner world brimming with imagination, empathy, and idealism. Your compassionate nature and deep-seated desire to understand the human experience make you a natural confidant and a source of support for those around you. Yeah, I would say that just understanding what it means to be a person and finding that individuality and personhood in life is very important to me. You approach life with a sense of wonder, always seeking meaning and authenticity in your experiences and relationships. Load-bearing word there is authenticity. Finding an authentic experience is one of the most important things in life for me, because it's like, if I can't be real around, like, my environment, then that's not an environment that I want to be around. Your creativity is a wellspring of inspiration, often manifesting in unique ideas and innovative solutions to complex problems. However, the same creativity can sometimes lead you to become lost in daydreams, making it challenging to navigate the more practical aspects of life. I mean, yeah, I think if you want a good personal example for this is look at my Notes app. My Notes app is filled with ideas upon ideas upon ideas of, like, stuff for videos, stuff for streams, and content in general. I have a bunch of video essay titles that I want to eventually do. I have a bunch of video ideas that I want to eventually do. But as you can see by my channel being fucking empty, I have done absolutely none of that. So it's like I get lost in the more I get lost in the daydream of it instead of actually, like, working with it and making it happen. You have a profound capacity for empathy, allowing you to connect with others on a deep, almost intuitive level. I think the capacity for empathy is definitely something that's true. I still think it's pretty hard for me at the moment to engage with that empathy. I might have it there, but it's still like, again, coming from the thinking to the feeling is very, like, it doesn't happen overnight, right? And I'm still at this point where it's like, okay, I'm still learning how to navigate the feeling, but I do think that, yeah, it helps me connect with other people. And I think the word intuitive here is definitely it rings very true. I'm somebody who can, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I do think I'm very good at reading people, right? I think I can, like if people are lying or people are being deceptive, I think I'm good at looking and feeling. I think I'm good at feeling that out, like feeling people out to figure it out. I do think to a degree it actually disconnects me with people, because I think I operate a little too much off of how I feel about people rather than like taking it at face value. I think I'm able to read that pretty like intuitively, because I've realized that I'm not actually thinking about it. It's just it's just a feeling that comes to me. Like if somebody's sitting there and lying to my face, I'll be able to tell like, okay, something about this person feels off. Then I'll be able to use all the observations that I make about them to come to the conclusion, okay, yeah, this person might be lying to me, right? Personality traits, I'm 54% introverted, 86% intuitive, 65% feeling, 86% prospecting, and 76% assertive. Okay, introverted. You likely prefer fewer yet deep and meaningful social interactions and feel drawn to calmer environments. Yeah, I'd say generally. That is very in the middle. Yeah, so I'm ever so slightly leaning that way. Yeah, so that checks out. Intuitive. You're likely very imaginative and open-minded, focusing on hidden meanings and distant possibilities. Yeah, I'm more. What gets me more is the idea of what something could be rather than what it is. Feeling, you likely value emotional expression and sensitivity, prioritizing empathy, social harmony, and cooperation. I think the key word there is social harmony, right? I just want to feel calm and just good vibes, you know? Like, let's just keep the good vibes, right? That's all I care about. And if being sensitive to people is going to get me that, then sure, I can do that. Prospecting, you're likely very adaptable, easygoing, and flexible, prioritizing spontaneity over stability. Yeah, I hate routine. I go fucking numb and start to hate life if I have a routine. So I actively seek out ways that I can shake my life up. Assertive, you're likely self-assured, even-tempered, and resistant to stress, refusing to worry too much. Yeah, that checks out. I'm pretty easygoing. Your introspective nature drives you to continually explore your own thoughts, feelings, and values. The self-awareness is a powerful tool for personal growth, but it can also lead to excessive self-criticism. Ain't that the goddamn truth? You're highly attuned to criticism from others. As well, which can sometimes leave you feeling vulnerable or misunderstood. Less so vulnerable, but very much so to misunderstood. One of the biggest things that I've had to deal with in my entire life is just this constant feeling of being misunderstood, right? A lot of it had to deal with the circumstances I was in at the time, but in general, I think that's why I adapted. I think that's why I used to be an INTP, because I adapted thinking my way out of things rather than just like actively like going with the flow, you know, a little bit more. Like I was very much trying to puppet master a lot of shit to go my way so that at least, you know, things at least turned out somewhat good, right? But as time has gone on, right, I've just cared less about what I can and can't control, and just I focus on what I can. And I think that's why I'm a lot less anxious these days. Your journey is one of balancing your rich inner life with the demands of the external world, always striving to bring more beauty, kindness, and authenticity into your life and the lives of those around you. Yeah. I think the balancing of inner life with demands of the external is something I very much struggle with, because if it was up to me, I wouldn't have to work, I wouldn't have to like pay bills or do anything, obviously. I think that goes for a lot of people, but it's because I have so much shit that I'm interested in and I want to do and I would rather be doing than literally anything else. And so it's just, I just want to be left at my desk to fucking do whatever I want, right? I don't want to have to go do all the other shit, and I think that gets in my way a lot because I like to prioritize being able to do my own thing. Alright, the career path. In my professional life, you're driven by a deep-seated need for meaning and purpose. Yeah, no, if what I'm doing does not feel meaningful or like it gives me some sort of purpose, then I'm Yeah, no, I suffer a lot with that. Careers in counseling, teaching, writing, or the arts often appeal to your nurturing nature and imaginative spirit. That's crazy that it mentions counseling, because I've had years of therapy. I'm still in therapy. I go weekly, right? But I was somebody who in high school didn't know what they wanted in college and whatnot. I didn't know what I wanted to do as a major. I didn't know where I was really going. I ended up not going to college because I missed the GPA requirement by 0.02. I needed a 2.25 cumulative. Did I say that word right? Cumulative? Sure, we'll just fucking go with it. You get what I mean. But I graduated with a 2.25 because I fucked around a lot in my last 2 years, and I ended up getting rejected from the only college that was available to me. Right? It was either that college or just I'm screwed. I'm not going to any other college, right? And then I ended up going to a community college because like community college is easy. You just go for 2 years and you transfer to a 4-year school. I tried community college, but the problem was that I did not have a major at the time. I went undeclared because I still didn't know what to do. I'm like, okay, well, I got 2 more years till I get my associates, and then I'll finally have to transfer to a 4-year college where I actually have to declare my major and work on my major. I was like, okay, well, let's just go with the general. Let's get my gen eds done while I fucking think about it. My semester at community college was very much, it felt similar to high school in the sense of like, one, the curriculum was pretty fucking easy, right? But then also, like, I had a lot of the same problems where it's just I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to have to like go fucking do math, you know, shit like that. And I dropped out. But nowadays, like, that was back in 2021, like mid 2021, I dropped out of community college, right? And nowadays, if I had to go back to college and like get an education and try to like make a career or anything, I think my path would be I would want to become a therapist. I think there's something about therapy. One, it's helped me a lot in my own like personal journey, but I think that as a counselor, you get such a different vantage point about like, you know, not only your own problems, but other people and their problems. I've been tempted to ask my therapist to see the notes that he writes down, as well as like the reports that he makes after our sessions, mainly because obviously me as a patient, I'm paying him to be there and offload all my fucking problems onto him, right? But beyond that, I'm asking him to help me with like cognitive work, right? Like that's just what I'm paying him for. And he's the expert on it. He knows what to say. You know, he knows how to handle situations, right? He's handled situations that are much more complex and difficult than whatever it is that I've gone through. And because of it, he has a very wide range of knowledge about it, right? And he can see things about me that I can't see about myself, or I can't even see in him, right? And so I would love to see what kind of stuff that he's able to find from that vantage point of being my counselor. And there's something about doing that for other people that like just really fascinates me, and I would love to go and figure out, you know. I'll be honest in saying it would be a lot less about people and their problems, right, and helping them out, and more so just the fact that people and their problems and how they think about things and how they operate is what intrigues me a lot more when it comes to like counseling. But yeah, if I had to go back to college and go get a degree or, you know, help build a career, it would definitely be in therapy. Personal growth. For you, personal growth is an ongoing journey of self-discovery and authenticity. You're constantly seeking to understand yourself better and to align your actions with your deeply held values. This process of introspection and self-improvement is both rewarding and challenging as you navigate the complexities of your rich emotional landscape. Yeah, that checks out. Your path to growth often involves learning to balance your idealism with practicality, ain't that the fucking truth? And developing the resilience to face life's inevitable disappointments. Yeah, resilience is a big thing that I try to work with, right? Getting less distressed, building that distress tolerance. While your empathy and imagination are great strengths, learning to set boundaries and develop practical skills can help you navigate the world more effectively. Embracing your unique perspective while also accepting your limitations is key to your personal development journey. I think I've very much accepted my limitations. I think finding out where they are is definitely an ongoing journey. You'll definitely find you have a lot more limitations than you expect. But I think the biggest one is embracing that unique perspective. Like, that's a lot of my issues that I have in my, like, that's why I haven't made as much content as I, like, want to, or I probably could, and haven't posted to YouTube as much, is just because again, like I said earlier, just this idea of filtering myself and, like, okay. Let me back up a little bit here. Like, when I'm coming into a video and I'm making that and trying to be entertaining or trying to, you know, bring in people and build a community, what matters the most in there needs to be embracing that unique perspective that I have instead of trying to make something that appeals to the widest audience possible. And I think that's the problem, is that I'm sitting here and I'm trying to throw such a wide net, but it's so wide that it's so thin and people can break through that and I end up not catching anything. Whereas if I had just embraced the unique perspective and like what I bring to the table as like a creator and a person, I think I would actually be able to, you know, catch people in and build a more bigger community reliably. And I think that's my problem, is that over the past 2.5 years of me like streaming and now making videos on top of that, it's very hard for me realizing just how much I, again, filter out my own personality with stuff. Alright, my relationships. In relationships, you seek deep, meaningful connections that honor your need for authenticity and personal growth. Yeah, that checks out. Your empathy and intuitive understanding of others makes you a compassionate friend and partner, capable of forming bonds that go beyond surface-level interactions. You have a gift for creating safe spaces where others feel understood and accepted. Yeah, that last sentence very much, I think, rings true. I think that when meeting others or building relationships with people, the most important thing to me is being able to make them feel understood and accepted. Because I think that if that person can feel those two things, then we're able to like build not only a lot more, like a lot faster than normal, but I think it'll also be off of a more authentic basis. However, your idealistic nature can sometimes lead to challenges in relationships. Yeah, I think I have a little bit too high of standards sometimes. You may struggle with conflict or become disappointed when others don't live up to your high expectations. The one thing I do disagree with though in this is struggling with conflict. I'm not conflict avoidant at all. I'm very much like, let's fucking address it. Let's fucking work out the issue so we can move on and build something even better. Like, and not in like a dismissive sense either. Like, how you feel about something in like a conflict is very much an important thing to work out amicably. But being able to, like, I'm also a very avoidant person. Like, when things get real, right? Like, I very much want to pull away, but I'm very good, I think, at being able to disregard that and be like, okay, no, that feeling of needing to pull away is actually destructive towards what I'm doing. Like, leaning back in when I feel the need to back out is better, right? I've learned that. Like, during arguments, I used to be somebody who's like, okay, I'm getting mad, I'm gonna fuck off. I need to leave. I don't think I can do this right now. Without like blowing fucking smoke out my ears. I need to come back and we'll deal with it later. And because of that, I would bail out of a lot of stuff. Because one, I think I had a little bit lower distress tolerance back then, but also just I didn't want to deal with it. And because of that, a lot of things suffered. But nowadays, I'm very much like, okay, let's just it's gonna be a tough conversation, but let's have the tough conversation. I'm willing to have a tough conversation if it means that we can move forward on better terms. Learning to communicate your needs effectively, set healthy boundaries, and accept others and yourself as imperfect beings is crucial for building lasting, fulfilling relationships. Yep. What can I say? They clocked me. While you value close connections, you also need time alone to recharge and reconnect yourself. I'm someone who, if I end up having a relationship that's like long-term enough to where we move in together, I think at minimum we need to have 3 bedrooms in that place. So we have like one where the both of us, like we sleep, and that's our bedroom. But then the other 2 rooms are places where we can be on our own and just do our own thing, and we don't have to we can't intrude on one another. Like my desk would be there, all my game posters and movie posters would be in that room, and all that stuff. Not necessarily like a man cave, but just like a place where all my shit is. Like something that's non-communal, right? Like that is definitively my room. Like I need a space like that I can retreat to when I need. I say 3 bedrooms because my partner will need to have that as well. Like, it's not fair for me to have that, but they don't have that. Oh, okay. Well, that was it. Yeah, no, fuck you. I'm not paying $10. You can go fuck yourself. I'm not paying $10. You just gave me all of that for free, and now you want me to pay more? I mean, shit, dude. Ooh, mediators I may know. J.R.R. Tolkien. Why? Sure, why? Yeah, that's a whole lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them. William Shakespeare. Bjork. Who the fuck is Bjork? Icelandic singer, songwriter, and composer. That makes sense why I don't know who Bjork is. Alicia Keys. Tom Hiddleston. I'll take that. I'll take Tom Hiddleston. Julia Roberts. William Wordsworth. Johnny Depp. This better not mean somebody's gonna shit in my bed. Better not. I'll be real mad.